Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Scene Live. This is a space for entrepreneurs who are building something meaningful and want a business that supports their life, not just their income. I'm Kim Speed, and I am a brand clarity coach and entrepreneur, and I work with experienced professionals who've started service-based businesses but are struggling with consistent clients. On this show, we share real stories, what actually worked, what didn't, and the lessons that you only learn by doing the work. My goal is to help you get clearer, feel more confident being visible, and build a business that's more aligned, more sustainable, and more stable. I'm really glad you're here. So today, I'm really excited to welcome Keri Holden to the show. Keri is an online business manager and bookkeeper who works with business owners who are ready to grow, but don't want to stay stuck doing everything themselves. She partners with entrepreneurs who are at the important stage where the business is working, but it's also demanding too much of their time and energy. The kind of business where everything still runs through you and stepping away feels kind of risky. Keri helps her clients step fully into the owner role by putting the right systems, workflows, and structure in place behind the scenes. She manages operations, supports teams, and works with business owners on strategic planning so the business can grow without relying on them holding it all together. And with over 20 years of experience in accounts and finance, she also brings a calm, practical approach to bookkeeping, helping business owners understand their numbers so they can make better decisions with confidence. So, help me to welcome Keri. Keri, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. What a lovely introduction. Thank you very much.
Well, Keri, I know that it's quite late where you are, and I really appreciate you staying up or working late tonight to be with us and share. Can you start with how this began for you? How did you actually become an entrepreneur?
Wow, that's a story and a half. I could kind of say which time, because I've actually done this twice, being an entrepreneur. So it started. I worked, as you said in your introduction, there over 20 years working in accounts departments and finance departments. I worked for small companies where there was just one or two people in the finance department, to whole great big oil and gas companies where there was loads of us and everything in between. So I got quite a lot of experience, and I ended up working in a hotel chain, for an international hotel chain. I worked as a finance manager there. And when you work in finance for as long as I have, you accept that there are certain periods of time, certain times of the month where there's pressure and stress, but it just seemed to be more and more. And the tipping point, I think, for me was I'd been doing the accounts for the month end, and the director said to me, it doesn't really matter what you put, because I've already decided what the figures are going to be that I'm reporting, and you just have to make them fix. Yeah. So I felt like it was just it was literally the straw that broke the camel's back. I just felt utterly crushed, and I was just like, what's the point? And
Yeah.
I just thought, what's the point in me? It was really soul destroying, very, very destroying for me. And I just thought, this is just enough. It really was the last straw. So I literally went back to my desk to phone my doctor, because I was just like, I could feel that I was just gonna lose
Explode.
it. Yeah. I actually went down to HR and said to them, I'm going to go to the doctor because I'm not coping, and this is just too much. And she actually said to me, are you sure that that's the right thing to do? Because the doctor will probably sign you off, and really you'll probably just feel fed up being at home. And this is because they were so busy, they didn't want me to be off work. And I was just like, this is just ridiculous. So
Oh
in
my
the
gosh.
run up to this, there'd obviously been lots of other issues and stresses and things, and I've been working late a lot. I worked part time, but I actually worked more hours than the full time people.
Oh my
And I've
gosh,
been,
this was a part-time job.
yeah, exactly, crazy. And I'd actually been reading a book called The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen, I can never say his name, Lakiani. He's the founder of Mind Valley.
Oh,
And
I
I,
know who you mean. Yes.
yes, so I'd been listening to the book in the car going to work and things, and I had bought the hardback as well. And it was already starting to make me question things. So when all this started to happen, I was just like, there's such a misalignment here. It's just
Yeah.
not what am I doing? And I literally spent the next couple of months in like a pool of tears and snot and just like
Oh.
I was just a mess. And I don't really remember it, but my husband says I spent a lot of time saying, I just want to make a difference. I just want to make a difference. And then I said to him one day, I don't want to go back. And he's like, well, don't get a job somewhere else. I was signed off. I said, I don't want to work in finance anymore. I just
Yeah.
can't. I'm done. I'm absolutely done with that. And he was like, all right, well, what do you want to do? So I spent another quite a long time in discussing and thinking and stuff. And for some reason, I kept coming back to massage. And I was like, I really want to learn massage. I want to learn beauty therapy. He's like, whoa, you can't get further from finance if you tried.
And,
Like,
and what drew you to something like that?
I don't
Had it
know.
helped you or?
Whenever I had massage, I just felt like so relaxed and so, yeah, I just sort of thought, I always used to be curious of how they did it and what they did. And I just kept thinking I could do this. It was quite, yeah, I can't really explain it why. It was just a
Yeah.
draw to it, really.
Yeah. It's
And I,
funny how things just sort of come to you and and
yeah,
and what you're drawn to.
yes. But obviously I was, I'd been working and he was working and I couldn't afford to not work for 2 years while I trained. But we found a course that was, it was a fast track. So it was 3 months. So it was a 2 year
Okay.
course in 3 months. So it was pretty intense, but it was
Yeah.
really, really good. And I did it. And at the end of it, I got a job straight away working in another hotel as a spa therapist, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was like, my most stressful days were when like somebody was 5 minutes late or something, and you'd be in a room, the lights dimmed, the candles lit, and the relaxing music given it, just totally. People would come in like this and they would float out on a cloud. It was just, I was like, this is making a difference. This is amazing.
This was
Um,
completely different.
yeah, completely different. Hard, physically hard work.
Yes.
But it was so rewarding. And then after a few months, I was suddenly realizing that I was being paid minimum wage and people were coming in paying premium prices. And I was like, I could do this better. So I started my own business. And yeah, and that was kind of where it started. And I started I had little hired premises and I had this little salon. And I did massage and nails and other beauty stuff, but it was mainly massage. And then I started realizing that people that were coming to me were people that were in a very similar situation to me. And they say that you attract people that are in the same place as you or that you need to learn from. And so I was getting a lot of people the same. And I thought, I can help them so much more with my experience. So I decided to train and become a holistic life coach. And so I used my skills then for help because I was like, I can fix their bodies. They come in, but they go back to the same troubles and issues the next day. So I'm like, I want to be able to help them cope with the stress so they're not. So I came up with this whole stress buster program that was all about helping them cope. It was about coaching, it was techniques, but then it was also involving like meditation followed by a relaxing massage. And
Yeah.
it was brilliant and it was starting to take off. And then COVID had other ideas. So that
Oh my gosh, of course. Of course.
So, if I could learn how to do massage online, I would make a lot of money. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's one of the skills that's not been transferable.
Yes, funny that.
Yeah. So then I was in this new situation of having a coaching business, but working online during COVID, where it felt like a billion other coaches were suddenly appearing out of the woodwork. And
Yes,
it
right.
was a really hard space to be in. And I knew nothing about social media really, other than posting pictures of my dinner and my dog, as you did in Facebook way back in the beginning. And yeah, and I didn't have a clue about marketing and strategy and plans and all this. So yeah, it didn't go the way that I had hoped. Um, and I actually ended up getting a part-time job, which then I accidentally got myself promoted and ended up being spa manager at a
Oh
hotel.
no.
So I ended up being working full time, and I'm like, how does this even happen? So then I was, I mean, again, it was like I'm giving 110% and getting not the same back. And I was in treatments all day and then having to spend the evenings and weekends doing the admin stuff. So it was
Yeah.
working two people's jobs really. And I just, yeah, I was like, my body was getting broken. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I changed and got a job in an office. And I says, right, 9 to 5, that's going to be me. I'm going to leave at 5 o'clock and I'm not going to care about work anymore. And I'm going
Sure you are.
to, yeah,
No.
that didn't last long either, because before long I'm getting stuck in and giving 110% again and getting promoted twice in 6 months and just
Oh
like, oh my
gosh.
goodness me. And
That's
then,
that's a bad sign for you when you get promoted. That means you're
yeah,
working too hard.
yeah, I know, this is it. And it's just like, I just can't just do my thing and leave. I just get involved and get stuck in. And I've been thinking for a while. I was like, I need to have my own business. This is not, I just, the whole working environment and, oh, you're 10 minutes late, you better make sure you make up the time type thing. And I'm like, really? I was like working till 9 o'clock last night for free. Yeah, that kind of just that mentality. And I just thought, you know what, I could really put my heart, if I'm going to put my heart and soul into a job, clearly I can't not, then it
Yeah,
might as well be for myself. And so I've
sure.
been thinking for a long time, what could I do? And we bounced around all kinds of ideas. And then I'd seen something online and we just kept coming back to a VA. I was thinking, yeah, virtual assistant, it kind of scoops up all the bits of skills and everything that I have and puts it in one nice little package. So we were
Yeah.
just thinking about it and toying with the idea of it. And then my daughter, who was 17 at the time and living at home, announced that she was pregnant. And so that
Another
was,
challenge.
yes. So I went from being this close to being an empty nester to suddenly having a pregnant daughter, a teenage daughter at home. And yeah, so
Oh
she
gosh.
she ended up, the boyfriend didn't want her to keep it, so she got rid of the boyfriend and she kept the baby. So good girl. But yeah,
And I think
then
that has worked out very well because I know that you're a pretty proud grandma.
yeah,
And I
definitely.
have seen some, I have seen her enter the room and she is so cute.
She is absolutely adorable. I can't believe she's nearly one. She'll be one next
Oh,
month. It's
wow.
like,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
time's just flown by. In a couple of weeks, actually, yeah. So, but yeah, Jess we were like, we support you 100%, whatever you want to do. But then suddenly she was a single mum, going to be bringing
Yeah.
up a baby on her own, living at home. And I was like, nah, me and working for somebody is not going to work. I need to have the flexibility. I need to be able to take her to appointments. I need to support her and all of that.
Yeah, you don't need anybody doing this when you're.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, that's what I did. I was just like, right, okay. And sometimes, fate kind of comes along, doesn't it? And says, no, this is happening now. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm not ready. Doesn't matter. It's happening. And yeah, it all worked out for the best. And there's no kind of looking back. And I think when we first met a few months ago, I was already feeling that the VA container was too small for me. I don't think I ever really fitted in it, but it was a sort of stepping stone for me. And then I thought, actually, after a lot of work on myself and my own mindset, I was like, actually, OBM, an online business manager, is what I
Well,
am.
even when we talked and you said, oh, when we first were introduced and you said you were a VA, and then you said, I think I might be something, I might be transitioning. And you said, do you know what an OBM is? And I said, oh, yeah. And I knew right away that sounded more like you, like
Yeah.
from after hearing all of your experiences.
Yeah. So, and it is, it's going, I'm just kind of transitioning now. I made a decision starting at the start of the year. I'm getting an accreditation so that I've got that behind me as well, and extra skills and tools to use. And I'm already, speaking to a couple of people and using them as guinea pigs. And it's great, and I'm absolutely loving it. And my bookkeeping, which having sworn that I was never going to go back to finance ever again, it kind of follows you around, and before you know it, I've got all these bookkeeping clients.
Oh,
So
goodness.
yeah, it's good. I'm really, really happy now. So.
But it does sound like you're a lot more in control and doing it your way now.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to have you as one of my students in the new brand Clarity Lab, and I could see you evolving through that. And I was so happy to hear that you had decided to make that transition, and I cannot see you doing just VA. You've got too much to offer too.
Yeah.
So kind of explain, because I know what an online business manager is. Can you explain to everyone what that is?
Yeah, so an online business manager is kind of like they're the person that helps make things happen rather than the doer, if you know what I mean. So they're the strategic partner. They're the back in the old days of bricks and mortar people, offices. You would have an office manager, and they would be in charge of making sure that everything was running smoothly and everything was happening, in charge of the people. And when somebody in the director would be like, I need a website, they'd be like, right, I'll get on it, and they would sort it. It's that, except it's just online. So it's very varied, but it's very much about coming in and looking and seeing what you've got in a non-judgmental, safe place, because that's a very important thing to me, because I think a lot of people get really freaked out when they have some feeling that somebody's going to judge them. You are where you are, and I've been there. So it's not about that. It's about how can we help you move to where you want to go and where you want to grow to next. And it's, you often find that you've got business owners who have maybe already got a VA, or they've got a tech expert, or they've maybe got a couple of staff, but they just need to be able to not be doing everything themselves. They need somebody else to just come over and oversee it, so they can get on with the thing that they're really, really good at and generate the business and do, enjoy doing that, what their thing, their zone of genius. And then have somebody else that can come along and put systems in, that can manage the staff, that can, make sure that operations are running smoothly, that can plan a launch of a product or a service, and just make sure that everything's documented and systems and all that sort of stuff. So,
And actually make systems.
Yeah. Well, this is it. Often we come into places, OBMs come into places where there are no systems at all. And it's not just create the system, but create the system and then document it in such a way so that then if they get in a VA at a later point or during the course of the journey with the OBM, you can just obviously teach them, but they say, here's everything, here's a step-by-step guide, this is and they're comprehensive SOPs, standard operating procedures that somebody can follow, anybody can follow, and that's really important for a business.
And sometimes it's good to have the business manager before getting the VA, and maybe having the business manager help you find the right VA, because that takes a lot of time too. Or having, do you need that tech person, or, who do we need? And then all of that stuff takes so long, and you forget.
And takes up a lot of brain power. That's what I always think. I was talking to a client today, and I said to her, this situation she was having. I says, it's taken up so much of your brain power that you can't think straight to be able to give your best in other areas of your business.
And it's hard to jump back and
Yeah.
forth, like
Yeah.
from, okay, I'm going to do some of the creative work that I'm used to doing and what I do really well. But then I have to jump over here and think numbers and accounting, or, hiring that person. So I have to figure that out. What do I need? Yeah, it's really interesting. And there's lots of people, and including myself, that, we can do a lot of this ourselves. Or, yes, there is AI that is very helpful, but it's still you doing it. If you
Yes, exactly. And don't get me wrong, AI is a great friend to a VA and an OBM. Of course it is, but it's as you say, you've still got to sit there and put the prompts in and get the information out and turn it into what you want it to actually be. Even sometimes it's even just a case of just saying, well, let's set up a project management system. A lot of small businesses think, I don't need a project management system, there's only me. But actually, if you think of it as your brain, it's so, it really does help. You don't have the same worry. You don't wake up in the night thinking, oh my God, I've got to remember something. Because, well, if you do, you just write it down, because then you put it in your project management system and it's there. You can't forget it. It's written down. And that just helps focus and lets you have more headspace, because you've not got to hold all these things to try and remember everything. And as you're saying, there's things that maybe you don't want to do, like it might not feel good doing your marketing. You're maybe going to make something on Canva and spend 3 hours on it because you'd rather be playing with that than doing the other bit of marketing that you're supposed to be doing that you don't want to be doing. An OBM will be like, excuse me, you need to be doing that. So kind of keeping you accountable as well, and giving you a kick up the backside when you need it.
Yeah. Well, and that's so true.
So it's kind of like being a business right-hand woman, if you like.
Yeah. No, it's so valuable that you don't even realize it. But, I think one of the things that I'd like to ask is, what do you see as the biggest challenge that even yourself faced in the early days of self-employment? And, I'm thinking about, if you've got an entrepreneur that's fairly new, when would they think about bringing somebody like that on?
So for me personally, the biggest challenge is, so I've obviously gone into this journey twice, and it was both times been very different. So the first time round, I was really green, that didn't know anything. So a lot of it for me was like a mindset shift, very much going from being an employee who's told what to do, to the person who has to make all the decisions. Imposter syndrome was there. I underestimated, although I was used to juggling lots of different things, I underestimated that different hats. I've got to be a bookkeeper, I've got to be a marketer, I've got to be a website designer, I've got to be this, I've got to be that. Oh, and then I've got to do the actual thing that I'm supposed to be doing in my business.
Yes.
So that was sort of quite an adjustment for me. One of my biggest challenges was I got distracted with shiny things. I'm terrible for it, but I know I am now, so I have measures in place to stop me. But usually,
you are not the only one.
Yeah. Oh, but you know what? That first time round, it cost me thousands, because I would be like, oh, there's this course, I need to do this, all these promises of this cookie cutter thing that was going to make me make lots of money in like no time at all. And I was too naive to realize that there was no shortcuts, that the only thing was going to get me the money was consistency and hard work. And I was doing the hard work, doing loads of work, but it wasn't moving the needle. And I didn't know, at that point, that you focus more of your energy on the things that do move the needle. And if something's not working, then you change it. Not if something that looks shinier over there and it's another couple of £1,000, you do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be really, really great. So it cost me a lot of money. Got myself in quite a bit of debt, I think, probably the first time around. And social media was one of those big struggles for me. Like I say, it was very much, I'd only used it for for posting the odd picture, or just not really used it very much at all. And then all of a sudden there was lots of people telling you lots of different things that was conflicting on there. Were saying, oh no, you should do this, you should post 7 times a day, a week. Somebody else say, you should post 3 times a day, and you should do this and you should do that. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and tried to do it all. So it was really chaotic and haphazard. I had no strategy. I didn't know about a strategy. Nobody seemed to tell you about that, but it was like it was secret, that part of it. So yes. Tell you like all the bits that would get you in a muddle. So I did. I got tempted by the dark side a few times and buying these solutions and shortcuts. And I think any followers that I might have had must have had a whiplash with the amount of chip changes and pivots that I did. I'm selling this week, and I'm doing this next week, and I just this sounds like a good idea. This one's going to make me money. I'll do this. It was just absolutely no wonder I crashed. It was really, but I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know who my brand was. So that was just all a bit kind of chaotic. The second time round, I was older and maybe a little bit wiser. But I knew that it was important to get my head down and stay in my own lane. My husband's quite good actually at pulling me up on things the rule that I have in place is that before I invest in anything, I have to run it past him. And that's not for anything. It's not for permission, or it's not, he says to me, it's your money.
It's to talk it through.
It's to sense check it, because if I don't want to tell him, it's because I know deep down, it's because I know it's not the right thing to do. So by the time I've got the courage to talk to him about it, and then I've got to sell it to him.
Yeah.
Then normally it's failed by the time it gets to that point, and I go, you know what, I didn't really.
And he doesn't have to say anything.
And he's like, happy to help. I knew what it was about. So that's my kind of sense check that I do now.
So when does somebody know that they need to bring on somebody in that position?
Sorry, my phone's going bonkers there. Just turn it off. So that's a good question, because it can be all sorts of different things. Often it's because they're constantly reacting instead of planning, or like people say that their inboxes kind of become their to-do list, but then they've also got a to-do list on their phone, and then they've maybe got notes on their desk, so they've got like 3 different to-do lists, and they still miss things off it. Try to juggle those kind of things. They don't have the time to focus on the growth of the business, and it's so important, as I've learned, to not spend all your time in the business. You've got to spend time on the business in order to grow it. But these tasks that you do for your business and to grow your business, it's really, really important that you treat them with as much respect as you would a client, because they're as important. Turning down opportunities because you don't have time. The client experience is one that quite often happens. You find that people notice that because they're being stretched too thin, that the client experience suffers, or they're like, oh, I could have done a better job, or I forgot to follow up with that customer and I would have really liked to, and that sort of thing. And you stop enjoying your business. We all have times when you're just like, oh, this is ridiculous. I'm going to go and work in a supermarket and just scan food all day.
I always say I'm going to go work at Starbucks, and then I think, ooh, I couldn't remember all that stuff.
Let's get my own coffee. So we do all have days like that, but the odd day, that's obviously normal. But if you're kind of getting to the point like you're doing a job when you're like, I hate this job, and you're like, I really hate this business, that's because you are stuck doing too much on the business and not getting time to spend in the business. And that's important. That balance is really, really important. So I often find people that are like, oh, my day's not finished because I've got to go home now and do all my admin. I've got to do all my invoicing and stuff like that. And they're trying to cram it into the evening, and they can't go out because they've got work to do and things like that. That's usually the point where they need some kind of support. And often for businesses, the first layer of outsourcing that they need is a bookkeeper or an admin person,
Yeah.
because that's the areas that they struggle with the most. A lot of creative people, are awesome at being whatever it is creative that they are, but they're just not wired up to be so great at doing admin and numbers.
It's
And
cringy.
yeah. Whereas, me, I'm quite good with admin and numbers, and the creative stuff, I'm just like, no, I need somebody else to do that for me. Thank you very much. So yeah, it's identifying the bit that gives you the most pain, because that's the bit that often you avoid the most. And if you're avoiding something that's costing you money in the long run, like avoiding your books is costing you money, and avoiding your admin could be costing you money because you're not following up on quotes and you're not getting invoices out on time. All that sort of thing. It's boring, but it's really, really, really essential. So that's often the first signs that somebody needs some kind of support.
That's great. I mean, it's so true, and it sort of depends on what kind of a business owner you are, and what your strengths and weaknesses are. But so there's different points for everybody to need somebody. But I think that's a great way to start, is to think about, you know, even if you are good at finance, is that where your time should be spent?
Yes,
Or should you, maybe that is the first, role
definitely.
that you bring somebody on.
I'm talking to a potential client. I've been talking to them on and off for a couple of months now. And they're a partnership, and he's really keen on outsourcing the books, and she's not. She's like, I can do it. It's fine. And he's like, I'm not doubting that you can do it, but is that the best use of your time? And this is what it comes up to. If you're paying £30 an hour for somebody to do your admin and your bookkeeping, that hour, are you going to go and you could maybe work with a client and earn £60 an hour? That surely is a better use of your time.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's where, again, it comes down to mindset, because people are like, oh, I can't really afford to have somebody in. Well, actually, if it means that time you can be spent doing some critical time generating work in your business, then surely that is worth your time.
yes, because I think you sometimes can get so caught up in the weeds of everything that you forget what the potential is of other things that you can be doing. And that's where, as you said, as an online business manager could be saying, you shouldn't be doing that, and you should be going to look at this new business opportunity and showing up at and doing presentations or sales pitches or meeting people or following up with customers, as you said. Like, what if that client that is so great is starting to sour because you're right? What if you haven't spent enough time with them because you're stretched so thin?
Yes.
And I have seen that happen. I have been there, thinking everything is great. You're bringing on more and more clients, but then you're right. Somebody gets left in the dust.
Yeah. It used to be when I was massaging, I always used to say, when I had I was a spa manager and I had a team, and I used to say to everybody in the team, the person that you give the treatment to at the end of the day should get exactly the same amount of energy and exactly the same amazing treatment that you give the first person during the day. The fact that you've done 8 hours of massage that day,
Yeah.
the last customer shouldn't suffer for it. And it's that same thing. Just because you've got a lot of people, clients, doesn't mean that the quality of what you give should be any different, and the energy that you give them shouldn't be any different. It should be the same. And if it's not, then you need to work out, how do you preserve your energy in different ways.
So this is great. How to balance your work life and your clients and expectations and building new. Now I'd love to jump into, how do you balance running a business with family life? And
that's been interesting.
Setting boundaries.
Yeah, and it was, I must say, it was challenging to start with, because when little Daisy was born and she lived here, they lived here for 3 or 4 months. we somehow got into the habit of that Nana here was doing the night feeds. So
What?
I don't know how this happened, because I'm like, she's now 18 years old. I'm like, you've got lots more energy than me. You could be giving,
Yeah. What are you thinking?
well, yeah, the old woman. But so yeah, I was getting up and doing the night feed, so I was knackered. So I just juggled my diary so that I didn't have any appointments before like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, because I would go back to sleep in the morning because I'm too flipping knackered to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Spring chicken, I am not. So having the flexibility is obviously really, really important. But one of the things that I did that was really quite a changer for me, actually, in the last 8 or 9 months, was I got a work phone. So I got a second phone on a cheap contract, just a cheap second-hand phone. Just got a SIM only, and I have all my work WhatsApp on it and all my work emails on it. So because
That's smart.
yeah, because what used to happen, and it is a bit of a pest carrying around two phones, but what used to happen, especially if we were out, or we have like family movie night, or we'd have family games night, and there'd be ping, 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 and I'll be like checking, and they'll be like, "Mum, would you stop working?" And my
Yeah.
family were getting really, and I just couldn't, because if I saw it, I had to deal with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
obviously you've got personal stuff, and you've got older parents, you kind of keep the phone on you anyway.
Yes.
So this time now, when the end of the day comes, the phone just goes off, and that's the end of that. I don't find out what's going on till tomorrow.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
So brilliant, because you're right. I have the same problem. And it'll be, just glancing down because you are worried. Like I have older parents, and I have adult children, but you still want to know what's going on. If they were to if they were to text me on a weekend evening, I'd think something was an emergency.
Exactly.
So you want
And
to be able to.
you just can't not look, can you? I mean, I'm terrible. Even when I have the little icon on my computer for the email, and you've got like the little icon come up, says you got a new email, I can't not look at it.
I know. It's like this beacon. Beep, beep.
Yeah. Awful. So again, that's something I've learned about myself. And so
Yeah.
now, which is one of my other things that actually, although it's not technically a boundary for work-life balance, it does help, because I do time blocking. So a Monday, normally I don't have any appointments, and I block out lots of time to do client work, and then I fit in. So on a Sunday, I normally sit down for just half an hour. I look and see where I'm at, what I've got to do the next week, how much time I need to allocate to different clients. And I've already got my calendar. It's already got all the family stuff on it. It's got all my work appointments, got all merged into one calendar. So I just look on it and I go, right, I've got an hour there for that client, half an hour to do that. And I just slot it all in to the week. And if something happens and it has to be moved, then I could just move that appointment along in my diary. But the reason that it helps with my work-life balance is because the time that I'm working in my business is much more productive.
Right.
And so during that time, so if I'm like, right, I've got an hour and I'm doing Kim's work, right, I will turn off. I can put my computer onto a do not disturb mode thing, so you don't get any of the notifications come through. Then I don't have that. Oh, what's that? Because I used to be terrible. I've been in the middle of doing something, and I better go and do that. And there's an email. Oh, there's a WhatsApp, and I would be in the middle of doing 5 different client stuff, and then it gets to the end of the day, and I'm like, I haven't done anything, and it just totally did my head in. And then I had to work 2 hours in the evening to try and sort it all out. So it was eating into my personal time.
Yeah.
So now, I've heard people talk about it for ages, but I've never really kind of properly done it. But now I just, it's worth taking half an hour out of my Sunday. I'm not yet organised enough to do it on a Friday afternoon before I finish to do it for the following week. So Friday.
Yeah, but if it's only half an hour or so like that, and it saves you all that time, that's huge. Yeah. And this is some of the stuff that you can help with your clients too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so if I have any meetings with anybody, and I obviously I'm quite a note taker, so I scribble lots of notes and things like that. when I'm scribbling my notes, I've got an electronic notebook, but whether you have a manual or electronic notebook, if there's any actions that I need to do, I put in the margin in the left-hand side, I just put a little box, like a little tick box, so that I know that's an action, so that when it's done, I can tick it. And now what I do is after a meeting, I block off 10 minutes and I go into my project management system, I go into Asana, and I just transfer those little ticky, everything that's got a ticky box next to it into my Asana so that I know it's all in one place.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. This has been like great tips, and I really appreciate it. I'd love to ask you one last thing before I let you go, and that is, what advice would you give someone who's dreaming about becoming an entrepreneur but feels really, apprehensive?
Okay, so I actually wrote something down for this because I didn't want to get it wrong. So I had so many thoughts. I was like, I'm going to miss something, so I wrote it down. So my advice is, don't wait until you feel ready. Okay, start before you're ready, because nobody feels confident at the beginning, and confidence comes from taking action.
Yes.
So start small, take one step, get your first client, learn as you go. You don't need a full plan to get started. You just need momentum. Surround yourself with people that understand the journey, because being around other business owners normalizes fear and helps to keep you going. And remember, the fear often means you're about to do something that's going to change your life. So don't let it stop you. And I want to finish with my favorite quote, which I'm going to have tattooed on actually, is everything you ever wanted is on the other side of fear.
That's beautiful. That's
Isn't
beautiful.
that amazing? It's got quite a lot of words though, so I'm waiting till I get it done because it might be a bit ouchy, but I'm going to get it tattooed.
Yes.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Everything
That's
you ever wanted is on
beautiful.
the other side of fear. So
That's
that would be my advice. Yeah.
I love it. You've given some great tips, and lovely to hear your story. Thank you for sharing openly about, that it's not, it's not perfect along the way all the time. And as you said, sometimes it's, we have to go through the mess and the weeds to get to where we really want to go.
So somebody said to me recently, the messy middle, we're in the messy middle bit, and that's the bit where, it gets all a bit messy. But we wouldn't have it any other way. And I must say, for me, this time round, one of the pivotal points really, really helping me with my confidence and everything else was doing the brand clarity course with yourself, because I knew my identity, I knew my brand's identity, but more importantly, I knew what my messaging was. I did a complete rebrand during it. I then decided to completely pivot after it, so I've got to go through it again, but that's the great thing about it. And just having that knowledge and just that was really, really, really good for me and for my business, and being able to do it myself. Not going, I need to go and pay somebody again to help me rebrand. I'm like, no, I can do. I understand the journey, and doing it myself. I'm so proud of my branding that I've got now, because it's the first time it's ever come completely 100% from me.
Oh, that's beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. And it's true. That's exactly why I built all of the assistants, for you to be able to go back and redo it without feeling like it's such a chore. Like you've got the assistance of, these AI bots to help you go through it, and it makes it so much faster. And you did such an amazing job, I could just see everything slowly moving into the right spots, and it's wonderful. So thank you so much, Keri. So how can people get in touch with you? What's the best way?
So you can get in touch with me. LinkedIn, I'm on, and I'm on Facebook as well. I can send you the links and you can share.
Actually, I will. If LinkedIn is good, and I have your website. Can I put those in for people to get?
My website just has a holding page at the moment, because obviously I just rebranded and now just about to change it again. But
So probably the best place is really LinkedIn. And then is it okay if anybody has questions, if they send you a message?
More than happy to answer any questions if they want to send me through. No such thing as a silly question. And yeah, as I said earlier, I never want anybody to feel awkward or embarrassed. And that's a lot. I find that a lot with people, especially with their books, that they find they just like, "Oh, I just couldn't have somebody look at my books." It's the same with the admin. I just couldn't have somebody look at it because it's such a mess.
Yeah.
It's, we've all been there. We've all done that. It's no judgment here. So no questions are too daft.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you so much. And we'll definitely be keeping in touch online, and I'll be watching your progress. If anybody wants to get hold of Keri, please reach out, connect with her on LinkedIn, reach out to her through her website. And I'll make sure that you have all the links so that you can get in touch with her. Thank you again, Keri. It's been a pleasure. And thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.